Hi everyone, this is Miss P, and today we're going to practice adding mixed numbers. Let's practice adding mixed numbers using the example of 3 1/2 plus 5 2/3. Mixed numbers are simply a whole number and a fraction put together into one value. This problem is a mixed number, 3 1/2 plus another mixed number, 5 2/3. When you're adding two mixed numbers, the easiest thing to do to start is to rewrite the problem vertically. 3 1/2 plus 5 2/3. This way, it's easy to see visually where the fraction is separated from the whole number. When you begin to add the two numbers, you should start by looking at the fractions. And in this case, these two fractions do not have a common denominator. They have unlike denominators. 3 1/2 has a denominator of 2, and 5 2/3 has a denominator of 3. You can't add fractions that have unlike denominators. You have to find the least common multiple of those two numbers, and then convert the fractions to equivalent fractions that represent a like denominator. In this case, the unlike denominators, 2 and 3, are both very small numbers, and you can find a common denominator by multiplying them by each other. 2 times 3 equals 6, or you can use the strategy that we've used in some past videos about finding common denominators. You can list the denominators and then list out their multiples until you find a common multiple. 2, 4, 6. Now let's try 3, 3, 6. As you can see, 6 is the least common multiple. So now we know that we have to convert both 1/2 and 2/3 into an equivalent fraction that's represented in sixths. So let's start doing that by just taking this number 1/2 and pulling it away from the whole number for now and converting just that 1/2 into a fraction that's represented in sixths. So in order to do that, we have to figure out with the denominators, what do you have to do to the number 2 to make it 6? Well, you have to multiply it by 3. See, you can even see that up here. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. So we multiply 2 times 3 to equal 6. Now, when we're finding equivalent fractions, we always have to do the same thing to the numerator as we've done to the denominator. So we multiply 1 times 3 as well. 1 times 3 equals 3. The equivalent fraction of 1/2, represented in sixths, is 3/6. Let's do the same thing using the fraction 2/3 and convert it into sixths. 3 times 2 equals 6. And again, do the same thing to the numerator as you've done to the denominator when finding an equivalent fraction. 2 times 2, using that same multiplication, is 4. So the equivalent fraction of 2/3 as represented in sixths is 4/6. Now that we have the equivalent fractions for the fraction portion of the mixed numbers, we can rewrite the mixed numbers and the problem as represented in sixths. So let's rewrite that over here. 3 3/6 plus 5 4/6. See, this problem represents the same value as our original problem. Our fractions are just represented in sixths. Okay, let's start by adding up the fractions. Remember, when we're adding, we're always going to start all the way to the right. It helps us to figure out when we need to regroup. Okay, 3/6 plus 4/6. Well, our answer is going to be represented in sixths, and now we just have to add the numerators. 3 plus 4 equals 7. 7/6. You might have already noticed that this is an improper fraction. We'll go back to simplify that after we have the whole number in our answer. Let's add the whole numbers here. 3 plus 5 equals 8. Now we have 8 7/6, but as we noticed before, 7/6 is an improper fraction. And what we would like to do is we would like to take the equivalent of this fraction that represents one whole. So 1 whole is equal to Well, when represented in sixths, it's represented in 6/6. And we would like to add that onto the whole number. So 8 plus 1, right? And that's going to equal 9. And then what we'll do with our fraction here of 7/6 is we will subtract the 6/6 that we took to add to the whole number. And that leaves 1/6 left over. So 7/6 becomes 1/6. Let's rewrite this. 8 and 7/6 is simplified into 9 and 1/6. And that is the answer that we can apply back to our original problem. 3 and 1/2 plus 5 and 2/3 equals 9 and 1/6. Remember, when you're adding mixed numbers, write your problem vertically. Look at the fraction portion of your mixed numbers and see if they share a common denominator. If not, find the least common multiple and then find the equivalent fractions that share the same common denominator. Then add up your fractions, your whole numbers, and simplify your answer.